Get ready for your weekly dose of Linux and open source news. Episode 88 of Midweek News is coming up. Let's get started. Burglars are jamming Wi-Fi security cameras. I think the vast majority of us have seen this as a possibility already, and just a matter of time. Yes, people, there is a reason your techie friend recommends using hardwired security cameras. The Free Software Foundation proposes a way forward after Crowdstrike. The key to this proposal is giving users choice on whether to receive automatic updates. This should absolutely be an option, at the very minimum, for servers. Of course, they couldn't resist the urge to poke a little fun at closed source vendors. Open source AI helped China catch up with the world. Obviously, this can be seen as a factor, but it's not the only factor. The whole idea of open source is that it is available to all, even countries that may not share our values. After the CrowdStrike debacle, Microsoft to discourage use of kernel drivers by security tools. While the kernel level drivers can improve performance and prevent tampering with security software, the vendors with such access must weigh potential negative impacts on resilience. The more that can be done outside the kernel, the better. If this had happened in userland, the system would have at least been able to fail gracefully. The article is definitely an interesting read. Wikipedia introduces dark mode. Yes, people, there was a whole article written about dark mode. It must truly be a slow news week. Passkey adoption has increased by 400% in 2024. Well, slow down there a minute, buddy. This article originates from password manager vendor Dashlane. Until there's a study where other password managers are taken into consideration and support is more widely built into websites of all levels of popularity, I'm going to take this one with a grain of salt. If you like AppImages, you will want to check out GearLever. GearLever is a novel little piece of software that gives you a little more flexibility with AppImages. It streamlines the managing, configuring, and even updating of AppImages on Ubuntu and other Linux distributions. You simply drag and drop an AppImage runtime onto the main window, and details appear giving you different options. Vanilla OS 2, Orchid, rewrites how Linux works. Vanilla OS shares some design features under the hood with Chrome OS. There are two separate root partitions which update one another, so you have a backup in case of a bad update. Unlike Chrome OS, you can install and run your own applications from multiple distributions. Where version 1 was built on top of an Ubuntu base, version 2 has moved to using Debian SID. This version drops Snap support, but has Flatpak, as well as support for packages from Alpine, Debian, Arch, and OpenSUSE via its own package management wrapper called APX. This is something that sounds rather novel in the Linux landscape. It's almost as if they took inspiration from high-end networking equipment as well as Chrome OS to build it. Intel Xe2, Lunar Lake, and Battlemage graphics may be supported with Linux 6.12. Support for new graphics cards is always a good thing. On Linux, you generally have two options if you want more open source support, either AMD or Intel. It will be interesting to see what comes of this and if it has any impact on how other vendors approach things. While it's low-hanging fruit to pick on NVIDIA, they have been making progress lately. Just slow-moving progress. Desktop Linux hits another market share record. Yes, the Slashdot article is pointing to StatCounter for its claim, but if the data is to be believed, Linux jumped almost half a percentage point between June and July. Small in the grand scheme, but worth noting nonetheless. 50 years ago, CP/M started the microcomputer revolution. The whole OS fits into under 200 kilobytes, with the resident part of the kernel being only 3K of that. The late Dr. Gary Kildall developed CP/M in his spare time while teaching at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. It is certainly an interesting history and one that does not get told enough in mainstream computer history courses and documentaries. PeaZip 9.9 adds internal drag and drop features. The latest iteration of the open source zip utility includes a new extract here quick link, improved reading of DMB, IMG, RPM, and SquashFS files as archives, option to show timestamps as UTC instead of local time for 7Z and P7zip archives, an updated Z standard lossless compression algorithm updated to version 1.5.6 for both Linux and Windows. You can check out the full changelog at the official website for more details. SeeedStudio debuts the ReSpeaker Lite voice assistant kit. If you like the idea of a voice assistant but don't want to sell your soul to Apple or Google or Amazon, you might like this. The ReSpeaker Lite offers broad compatibility, allowing you to integrate with various platforms like Raspberry Pi, PCs via USB, and others. Additionally, it is designed to work with popular voice assistants like Home Assistant via ESP Home, as well as offerings from Amazon and Google. Pricing starts at $26.91 and is available exclusively on the SeeedStudio website. And in less tech-related news, the bond for the library renovation project has failed. This means we're going to be stuck in an old building with less than adequate utilities for the near future, and we will not be able to showcase a new building for the 150th anniversary of the library. The cards just didn't fall in our favor, and what this is going to mean long-term for the library and for me working at the library, I don't know yet. But it might be just the catalyst I need to start exploring other options. And on that note, thank you all for watching or listening. This has been episode 88 of Midweek News for August the 7th, 2024. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week for more news.